Black card to me means wretched, lewdness, loudness of mouth, no class at all. You want me to be busted, broke, and disgusted. You want me outside with bonnets on and see-through leggings. You want me to have 15 baby daddies.
Now, growing up as a black kid in a place like the Bay Area, I was brought up to believe that the most racist and hate-filled people were those who consider themselves as quote-unquote Republicans or conservatives, those who are on the right side of the aisle. Now, obviously, in hindsight, I see how ridiculous that is. But, you got to factor in that I was growing up in a place, San Jose, California, to be specific. Shout out to my Bay Area folks out there. I was raised in a place that was saturated with leftist, woke nonsense. My entire upbringing was saturated with it. Not in our household necessarily, but up to a certain age, I wasn't really spending much time in the household. I was not interested in what my folks had to say. Instead, I ran them streets. And though I was raised up a Christian with Christian values and morals and parents who actually exhibited these morals, I was not interested. I wanted what the world had to offer, and the world around me had to offer wokeness. So I did find myself at a certain point becoming one of those Wakanda, ashwagandha type of Negroes. But it didn't take long for me to realize that this was nothing more than just a make-believe identity that I'd adopted. It did not feel real. It never felt real for me. Unlike some of those who are able to last in this for much of their lives, it didn't resonate with my core. But nevertheless, when I finally came out publicly out of what I call the conservative closet, what I came up against was essentially what this young man right here experienced for himself due to him simply having a desire to appreciate the place that has afforded him the opportunities that this beautiful country has. So I'm going to get into this first video. I have not watched it through. Want to watch it in real time with you guys. But yeah, go ahead. Enjoy.
And I'm going to put the video so y'all know what I'm talking about. And then I'm going to put it in here, though. So I recently went viral. Not recently. It was like in January I went viral when I was in the military. So who need to hear this? You know what I'm saying? I see a lot of people be talking shit about America. Hey, if you don't like America, go to another country. I love this country. I protect it. I went viral.
Now, that right there might not be the exact way I would express this in October of 2025. Maybe if you found me in like October of 2023 or something like that, we might have had that type of response. But the sentiment, I 1000% stand behind. If you don't like it here, you actually have the freedom to leave. It's really a beautiful thing.
For saying, I love my country, I love America, Well, I ain't say too much. Why I just looked at my stitches, right? One stitch, right? It's this one girl. And she's just, looking at my video normally, nothing too much. You go to the comments, it's her getting punched in the face. Who got this picture? And then you got one dude talking about something. Yeah, as soon as he get home and they see that young brother as not a patriot, but his skin color. Fam, everybody sees me as a regular dude. You always trying to bring race into it. Shit.
We got to get into that. And we indeed have time today. We got time today. Oh, yeah. Coming out of the conservative closet. And that wasn't even the moment that this young man had. All he had was a sentiment that most of us should have, which is a pride for the nation that we live in. Now, of course, our identity should be rooted first and foremost in Christ. It should be rooted in our relationship with our Creator. That is the most important identity and the end all be all. However, to take pride in your nation is a beautiful thing. It likely means that you're going to take care of, you're going to contribute to, as opposed to try to completely destroy, like many of these leftists are on these folks are on a crash out mission to do so. So shout out to this young man right here. Let's see what else he's got for us. And we've got him loaded up today. Best believe me, we've got him loaded up on deck.
Ain't got nothing to do with race. And on top of that, bruh,
Talk to us.
in the comments, they calling me a Nazi.
Huh?
They calling me a Nazi. White supremacy.
You can't make this stuff up, folks. All of a sudden, no, look. Yesterday, you could have been the apple of their eye. Yesterday, you could have been their reason for existence. They will bow at your feet yesterday before they knew what your actual political views were. The moment they find out, see what happens to your DMs tomorrow. See what happens to the comments section tomorrow. The moment they found out that I was not what they wanted me to be, I experienced what real racism looked like. Real racism. I got called things I'd never been called by people who I never would have expected to be called those things. My life was threatened time and time again, still is, on a regular basis. They tried to correct me and fix my thinking because, this little old Negro over here, he probably doesn't really get it. He doesn't understand. Yeah, I finally started thinking for myself. Therefore, I came to the conclusion that y'all are absolutely out of y'all minds. Can we try that just for size? And if the shoe fits, then I suggest to put it on. What else we got?
Like, what are we talking about?
What are we talking about?
Can't love something, I can't enjoy living in a place if it don't align with y'all decisions. Y'all get mad, but I don't give a I don't give a
It's a wrong energy right there. Yeah, the next video is about to be yeah, I got no words for this one. I'm gonna just go ahead and okay. It's like 5 seconds, but these are the moments here, folks, that really test my relationship with the Lord, where I am in my walk right now, to say, are you at a place where you can truly love your enemy? And God wants to get every single one of us to that point, because it is His command for us to do so. Forgive those who persecute you. Lord, have mercy on my soul. This woman here has thankfully been brought to public awareness and conscious. And I think it's only fair for essentially what y'all see here, which is making a gesture of Charlie Kirk being assassinated. Let's call it what it is. Now, if y'all were to guess the occupation of this individual, and some of y'all already know the unfolding of the story because y'all been keeping up with these things. So what do you think the occupation of this big backed individual is over here? What do you think it is? Go ahead. I will do the grand reveal in a few seconds, but you go ahead and you tell me what you think she does for a living. No, it is not professional hot dog eating. Great answer, though. That would have been likely accurate, but many of them are actually relatively in shape. No, this individual is a elementary school teacher. And I'm not bringing this video up just to get y'all going. Trust me, I do my best not to in this day and age, in this part of my journey. But this right here, and they got the information, they got the school down, etc. I heard that the school actually took their social media down completely because they're that embarrassed. Here is an elementary school teacher. Now, what do you think would happen to your little one if they just so happen to come to school in, I don't know, their favorite Trump shirt? because the kids love Trump. They love the president. El Presidente, they can't get enough of him. They love the little shimmy. They love it. What is there not to love? What would happen to your child if they even suggested that they were not in allegiance with the libtardness of the left? What do you think would take place? What do you think would happen to your child then? So the reason I'm bringing this up right here in context of this conversation is because, what I really realize is these are people who have pulled the wool over many people's eyes. I've spoken on this in the past, as far as even I believing that, okay, these are just people who are, well-intending, especially with the whole climate change thing. That was like the first real big social media push in the world of the woke, before they started to mutilate our kids and things of that nature, before they started pumping them up with hormones and essentially destroying their lives. They were pushing the whole climate change. And I believe, okay, these are just people who are simply misled. They're misguided. They don't get it. And then, fast forward to, the post 2022 mask wearers. And now it's just like, okay, these people are obviously out of their minds. You know what I mean? They're burning down cities. They are looting. It's like, okay, how do you equate that to activism? So who are they? Well, the so-called white liberal, who I believe is the most racist because they're the most race obsessed. Now I can put them in the same category as most liberals, but mostly black liberals and white liberals, right? Or black Democrats, white liberals are the most racist people that I've come across my entire life. And there's a reason why they have a hatred for black conservatives, a special sort of hatred. It's different. They have a despise, a disdain, a disgust about all conservatives, like all Christians, anything that is unlike themselves. But when it comes to black conservatives, or I can add black Christian / conservatives, there's a special sort of disdain that they have for us. And it's for this reason. Because we're the ones they're supposed to easily be able to control. I put those words we are supposed to be the easiest to control. That's who we are in their perspective. They believe us to be the ones who are supposed to give in, as we always have. We are their special little pet project. That's right. That's right. That's why the young man in that first video and the lady in the last video I will show you guys have the perspective that they now have, and essentially have the experience that they have endured, which is dealing with the smooth-brained, dare I say, narcissistic, some social, even psychopathic individuals, those who are malignant in their narcissism, those who are filled and saturated with a self-absorption that then projects itself as saviors, i.e. the whole white savior complex. They will kiss your feet while believing themselves to be better than you. That's what that's about. Now, I'm not saying that there isn't racism on the right. Lord knows there is. Lord knows there is some real life racism on the right. But it is a different kind of racism. It's the kind of racism where you could probably sit with one of these individuals and they will tell you every single story that led them to the position that they are, and you could likely have a conversation with them. On the left, they just simply want to They want to end your life. That's all there is to it. Again, you have those sort of individuals on the right, but they are scarce, as opposed to on that side of the aisle. This is who we're dealing with.
You ever heard of Ozempic, you fat ass?
Now, next we have another example of what these people are, best demonstrated by what they create. Here is a kid with a Trump piñata that he is stabbing. I have to take that sound out. I don't know if that's copywritten. And look at this. It's all adults, all grown folks around this kid, giving him a high five and ha ha ha. Now, remember about 2 days ago, they had a No Kings protest. King Trump is ruining our lives. He's a totalitarian dictator. The oligarchy, as old Bernie Sanders says while he is on a private jet on his way to complain about the billionaires while he makes more millions. Yeah. Turns out that you can actually insinuate and even speak out clearly in public on social media about taking the president's life. That's how much of a monarchy that you are living under. You delulus you. These are the very same people who look to a black man and immediately assert not just ideology, they assert captivity, bondage. You're supposed to be a slave on the Democratic plantation. Now, I am a slave of sort, or a servant, as we say. We are bought and paid for by the blood of Yeshua, the Mashiach, Jesus the Christ. That, yes, I am his. Whatever he has me do, I got you. Even if, like, subjects like this one, a while back when I said, Lord, I'm done over here. I'm tired of having to talk to these Negroes about themselves. And God said, you think you're done, but I'm not. And turns out that he's the one in control. He runs this. We are not dealing with individuals who are so concerned with the plight of black and brown people, the so-called disenfranchised, because if they were, then they would be, okay, let me draw a parallel. If they cared about the ecology, if they cared about the environment so much, they would be out there at least once a week having a massive trash pickup. You know, instead of either the inmates or the guys doing community service or the local church picking up your neighborhood trash, it would be those people. So to draw that very same parallel, if these people cared so much about black and brown people and the plight of these people, then they would give them all their money. They would house them. They would bring them into their little cushy suburbs. They would personally educate them. They would do the things necessary to uplift this community, i.e., I don't know, develop a relationship with God, prioritize education as opposed to indoctrination, not beat into them that they cannot and never will because of the white man, but instead empower them. Instead, remind them that they have the power and capability that has been vested in them by their creator. And so they are not victims, but instead they are victors. You could do that if you cared about them kids in the hood, but instead you're preoccupied with your hatred, your disdain. Look at this energy here. This is the same exact event. Look at this, just screeching banshees. Look at that. Look at this. Full-blown banshee activities. What are you going on about? And look at, oh, black cop. You know he's going to get called a sellout. White supremacist.
I just
Okay, what do we have next?
walked Donald Trump out of the vehicle windows as I drove past.
Wait, let's run that back now. Can you give us the full story, ma'am? Everything you say will be held against you in the court of eternity.
I just let my kids yell for Donald Trump out of the vehicle
Not even 3 seconds in, we already in some foolishness. Okay.
windows as I drove past a No Kings protest that I didn't know was going on. Yeah, I sure did. And I am proud of them. These kids just made my fucking day, okay? Screaming fuck Donald Trump out the window. And listen, that whole crowd of people.
So tell me, Which policy do you think led to those kids having that sentiment about their current president? Go. I'm going to take a little quick sip. You go ahead and go. All right, your time is up. Sip is over. Yeah, I would say none. Absolutely zilch, zero, because those kids have no concept of public policy. They don't know what laws have and have not been passed. No idea. But they do know that they have a mother who is obviously on the whack job side of the spectrum. Because there's a spectrum in the world of the leftist. There is the deeply misinformed and then all the way to the clinically psychotic. That's where they exist, somewhere there. Mommy is seeming to be on the latter side of that spectrum, right? Mama's out of her mind. Mama's teaching her kids to yell F the president. Now, look, there's folks who had the, Let's Go Brandon shirts and things of that nature. And it was funny back in the day or whatever. But truth be told, I would not want my kid going F anybody. Not F this president. I wouldn't want my kid doing that. That right there would be a display of me as a parent. That would mean that I have failed at some respect if my kid has that sort of animosity against somebody they know nothing about. That means that I have projected that onto my child. And so that is the sentiment that they hold. Folks, these are the same people who in the Bay Area used to try to come up to me in coffee shops and have a little chit chat and couldn't wait to get one off. You know what I mean? They couldn't wait to get one. Oh, I can't wait. Oh, let me want my little black baby. That's how they would treat me. They couldn't wait to, George Floyd. Oh, discrimination, glass ceilings. I'm serious, by the way. I've told a story in the past, but there was a lady who worked at LinkedIn as probably a department that doesn't exist anymore if they want to remain profitable. LinkedIn is one of the most woke organizations run by you can go ahead and look that up and see who runs that. Oh, Hoffman. Just go ahead and look it up for yourself. But this woman came up to me in a Whole Foods. Yes, I do enjoy a Whole Foods. And I was actually on my computer as per usual. If you see me out, I'm probably going to be on something. On laptop, in a book, whatever it may be. She came, sat right next to me. I'm talking about cushy side. Can I sit here, please? Sure, go ahead. There's space everywhere. But she sat right there. I'm on my laptop and she just, kept looking. You can just feel it on you, just burning through right here. Hey, it's so unfortunate. And part of me knew where this was going, but then, there was a smidgen of me that was hoping, okay, maybe this is different. And sure enough, within the first couple of minutes, we're already on, it's so hard for Black people to get opportunities and this and that. And I'm thinking to myself, don't you work in the DEI department of LinkedIn? What are you talking about? You literally are responsible for racist policies that are anti-white and anti-Asian and pro-Black, that are bringing in people who look like me for no credible reason, but instead just because of their skin color, which is racist, by the way. That is what they call it. The soft bigotry, I believe, or the bigotry of low expectation. Yeah, I've been in situations like that. And most recently, when I was still in California, I was in a small city by the name of Rockland, right next door to William Jessup. Was not a Christian at the time, but, God was working with me. But I was very much not a libtard. And so I ran into a couple there and we hit it off. And I didn't realize, because, these days were kind of behind me at this point. I didn't realize that the reason why they were so gung-ho to talk to me was because I was Black. I was going to be their little Black project. And so, we got into conversation. This man had left Mormonism and, came out the cult and that whole thing. And we hit off. The the wife. It was all good. Come November 4th, 2024, and he was one of the first people to send his letter of resignation. No longer could he be affiliated with my version of blackness. He was going to either correct me and fix me, or he simply could not stand by me. Unfollow. Yep.
Was cheering and clapping, and they were like, fuck yeah, fuck him. Yeah, I am so damn proud of my kids right now. Like, I'm taking their asses for ice cream or something, because that was awesome. That was epic. And you know what? Here in a little bit, when we leave the park, we're going to drive by it again. And this time, I'm going to allow them to say it again. Yep, I sure am. I don't care what you think. Don't come at me for letting my kids cuss. It is what it is. But yeah, except this time, after the park, when we drive by, I'm also going to be...
Why is this woman glitching in real life? I know that's not the quality of my video, is it? You know, like one of those time-lapse videos.
blasting the same song that is in this current video right here. So, yeah, I am so proud of my kids. Listen, they were saying that shit with their chests, okay? It was awesome. It gave me chills. Like, freaking awesome.
Okay, so this is going to be our last video. We're going to get to you, sis. Because, you know, we need to really circle back and end on a real positive note. So I'm going to go ahead and get into the word, because this reminds me of a little something. Hopefully I can bring this up without a glitch. Yeah, good. Where we at here? There we are. Let's take a look at this here. Let's take a look at this here. Let's take a look at this here. Woe to those who call evil good and good evil, who put darkness for light and light for darkness, who put bitter for sweet and sweet for bitter. Woe to those who are wise in their own eyes and prudent in their own sight. Now, this one might not be as relevant, but that woman maybe on the drink, heavy. At least she seems that way. Woe to men mighty at drinking wine. Men and women, by the way. When it says men, it's not just saying the dudes. You too, ladies. Woe to you who is getting absolutely smashed, hammered. Woe to men valiant for mixing intoxicating drink. That's you too, ladies. All them drinks. That alcohol has become your God. Woe to you. Woe is not like whoa. That's not woe. Pity upon you. Shame on you. If you are one of these sorts of mothers here, you have replaced good for evil and evil for good in your household, and that's going to lead to one of two things. And God is a funny God. I do believe that our God has not just a sense of humor. He is the creator of what we experience as humor. Because these end up being the same women who have two sons who, instead of turning into little transformers, become full-blown Trump supporters. That's what happens in these types of situations. Either you have that or you have two transformer boys. That's just, those are usually the two rows that this takes. But woe to you who calls good evil and evil good, who has traded light for darkness and darkness for light. Anybody wondering where I pulled that from? This is in the 5th chapter of the book of Isaiah. Shame on you. Shame on you for replacing woke ideology for God's law. Shame on you for replacing what is righteous for what is wicked. Shame on you for teaching your children how to hate. And there are those who consider themselves as Christians who have these very same temperaments. Now, of course, we would know them by their fruit. And if you look at that fruit, it is very fruity. They're openly fruity, if you catch what I'm throwing. But they're not bearing fruit. They're not bearing godly fruit or fruit of the Spirit. Nah. Nah, they might wear that label because I guess it looks good in the public's perspective, but you can't tell me somebody like that has any respect, reverence, let alone love and affinity for the true living God. You can't tell me that. These people are cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, and they need prayer and they need deliverance. Double on the deliverance. They need whatever is in them to be cast up out of them. I'm not even trying to be funny on that one. I am very, very serious. These folks have opened themselves up. And that's for anybody out there who is angry. This is going to be a word for somebody before we wrap. Anybody who is angry and they have a temperament of anger and they do indeed sleep on their anger and they act from anger, they sin in their anger, they are wrathful. You might be bitter. You might display it in a passive aggressive way, but you're still an angry person. You need to come to God. You need to repent of that and plead with him to help you through that anger, to let go of that anger. Because when you open yourself up in that way, mark my words, you are creating an open access to evil. You are giving yourself over to the kingdom of darkness. I'm not even trying to be cute with y'all. Not on that one. If you hold on to your bitterness, your jadedness, your hatred, you will be an open door to demonic oppression, if not possession. Mark my words. That's why you see folks, they were kind of having an attitude back in the 80s. Now they're just fully possessed. That's what you're looking at right there. They never dealt with it in the way they were supposed to let go of it, to forgive as your Father has forgiven you. Nah, they held on to it and they made a persona out of it. Let us finish off.
You know what's funny? What's funny is when people come in my comments and they tell me they taking my black card away from me. Well, let me tell y'all something. Y'all ain't got to take nothing because I threw it away.
That's right. Me too.
I was 14 years old when my father set me down. This was right before he passed away. My father set me down and told me he don't ever want me to depend on the government or nobody else.
That man knew God. I'm just lay that right there. You might think that that's jumping to assumption. That man knew God.
Okay? Just the Lord. And if the Lord blesses me with a hug,
I promise you, I have not watched this video, folks. I have not seen this video. I just dragged it into my compilation. I could just feel
there it is. And I sure have a husband who's good to me, and I'm grateful for that. Wow. But every time y'all say black card, y'all know what comes to my mind? Black card to me means wretched, lewdness, loudness of mouth, no class at all. You want me to be busted, broke, and disgusted. You want me outside with bonnets on and see-through leggings. You want me to have 15 baby daddies. You want me to be a single mother.
I'm going to have to give her own session. We going to have to get somebody. Okay, I might have to find her. We got to talk. No, I'm sorry. She is preaching the whole, no. Wait a minute. Come on now.
Card to me means wretched, lewdness, loudness of mouth, no class at all. You want me to be busted, broke, and disgusted. You want me outside with bonnets on and see-through leggings. You want me to have 15 baby daddies. You want me to be a single mother in my house down in the hood and wretched. You want me to be on welfare.
You know who wants you to be that more than anybody else? Besides them folks who are doing that sort of activity and living in that sort of depraved way? White liberals. I'm telling you, they love to see a nignog noggin. They love it. They can't get enough of it. They love the stereotypes. Oh, Cardi B is literally my favorite. Why can't it be? Look, I done stepped on my water. Why can't it be? I don't know. BB and CC Winans. Why can't it be somebody who has at least just a smidget of wholesomeness there? Now, I don't know. Maybe CC done CC'd her way out. But why can it never be somebody who just has a little bit of decency that is presented as what we need to be aspiring towards? Why has it always got to be the most wretched and ratchet? Somebody please explain that to me. Continue.
And have to get government Section 8 and all of that. Yep. See, I guess not having a black card, that made me successful. Who knew that throwing away your black card means success? Because that's what it meant for me. So when y'all get to come and talking about, I'm taking away your black card, baby, listen, I threw that thing away 30 years ago. 30 years ago, I threw that away. Yeah, and thank God I did. Because all the black people that I know, the black successful people that I know, they threw theirs away too.
Revoked. Now, don't worry, I'm gonna give you your own time and space because you're preaching a whole word right there. Soon as I heard Pops, I said, okay, I know what we're dealing with here. And that right there, thankfully enough, is the best way to sum all this up. That black woman is the one they fear most because they can't control her. A righteous, godly black woman is the most terrifying prospect for any of them. And yeah, of course, men as well. But reason I target to women is because women are the ones targeted. They want to get the man out the way so they can get to the woman. Why? So they can get to the seed, because the devil wants your seed. He's always wanted the little ones to raise them up in his ways and not in God's ways, because that becomes a soldier in the kingdom of the Most High. Look, it ain't even Sunday today. And shout out to my folks who've been looking for the word on Sundays. I'm going to be coming with a little Sunday service style video. Even though I'll be taking Sundays off, I will pre-record it and make sure that, y'all have access to that on Sundays while I take my little Shabbat. I'll take my little Sabbath. So appreciate y'all for tuning in. Love y'all. Till the next time. Peace. Appreciate you guys for tuning in. Now, if you'd like to stay around, make sure to click that little subscribe button down there, or you can show some love by going to the description below and clicking on the button titled Buy Me a Coffee. Leave a little something there, or click on the Cash App. Leave a little something here. Till the next time, peace.
I've been up for hours, I've been up for days, staring at the ceiling, I've been counting strays, I've been in my feelings, I've been out of mind, I've been getting visions of the other kind, I've been up for weeks, I'm in the counting blessings over counting sheep. I can never be the type to limit when it comes to me. I used to be the pleaser for the people I ain't even need.